To the best day ever.
I agree.
Something we do over coffee most every morning.
Yep.
There's a lot of things to talk about, isn't there?
Oh my goodness, this week has been insane, you
It has
guys.
been
Yeah.
crazy.
If you follow what's been going on, I've got some notes. I've talked to a lot of you guys, and we're just going to recap of some of the things, the highlights, and stuff that we find of interest. Maybe.
Yeah, and there's a few things I'd like to bring up that are happening on my end. We're actually, I'm with a company that's coming back from the ashes. Martin Wells, they used to make valve seats. And I want to reach out to the community and ask if you know anybody that rebuilds heads for motors and stuff like that. I'd like to talk with them. These valve seats have been reintroduced, and it turns out the motors that they were used in a long time ago are lasting 40, 50, 100% longer. It's a really interesting opportunity. So if you know anything about valve seats, you know anything about Martin Wells, you'll know it's a company that makes stuff in the United States of America, right there in Las Vegas. So reach out to me. You can text Stacey or email Stacey. That would be cool because I'm trying to help them get going. It's just I love stuff made in America. People ask me all the time to push products made in China. I don't do it anymore. I want to help America be great again, if you know what I mean.
Yep. And I'm trying to follow the comments, so you guys comment and see if I can catch up. But that kind of segues into what has just happened this week. You just said that you want to produce or promote people that are in America. You guys, this last week, I hope we have good audio. Let us know if we don't. This last week has been I don't know, my head's just been spinning when it comes to free speech, what the debate, Julian Assange, you got Steve Bannon going to prison come Monday. I mean, you name it, we are right there. And I guess that is kind of where my heart's been, is what's going on with our country, like you said, what's going on with free speech. And you said, you actually segue into perfect thing, what I was thinking, in promoting American companies.
Well, I want you to think about our factory base. Think about how most of our imports come from overseas. Well, of course, all of them do because they're imports, right? But we export cheap currency to import goods.
Yep.
Our factory base is overseas. We have got to get the factory base back in the United States. We've got to be able to build our own products. We've got to be able to move forward. That's the only way I see it getting better. And hopefully, Generation Z and the younger generations, I'll just say that. I hate to talk about millennials and Zs and all that. The younger generation is going to have to learn how to do stuff with their hands instead of getting a degree in underwater basket weaving from the indoctrination camp. That's exactly what it is. So that's the goal. And now we're going to talk about everything else that has been going on.
It has been a lot.
But that's the thing. We got to get the factory base built back up.
Start with some stats you were talking about though, about if you're under 150,000. That when you said that, I was like, wow.
Yeah, that's sad. People that make over 150,000 are struggling now. Under. And it's right here. As of April 2024, 32.5% of respondents in this income group expressed concern about their financial situation, up from 21.7% in April of the previous year. People that make under 150,000 are saying they are in trouble. 150,000, 100,000 to 150,000, 70,000 to 99,000, and 40,000 to 69,000. Individuals in the lowest income group earning less than 40,000 had the highest level of worry about making ends meet. Of course. I don't know why that would even be in here. Across all income levels, the percentage of people anxious about their ability to pay bills increased compared to the previous year. This is expected with inflation. Among those who are already paying their bills on time, the increase in concern was most prevalent among younger individuals, females in higher income groups. In the 150,000 or more income group, 15.3% took an additional job, the highest among all income levels. It's not enough now. $150,000 is not enough. They have to get another job. The group has borrowed the least from formal sources, but ranks second highest in borrowing from family or friends. Guys, if you have a friend and you think you want to borrow money from him, well, that's a good way to end the friendship. Or if a friend wants to borrow money from you, my reply is, I don't really loan family and friends money, because after that transaction, I'd say 70, 80% of the time, there's no longer a friendship. People get funny when it comes to money, and we've seen this in real time play out with family. I've seen it play out with friends. The bank lends money. There's people that, hard money lenders, if it's a friend or family, do something else. It's just going to mess it up. Only 8.8% of individuals in the 150,000 or more income group skipped or made partial payments on their monthly bills or debt, the least among all income levels. The survey also found that while higher income groups were more worried about the impact of higher prices, they were less likely to cut down on spending compared to lower income groups.
That is true.
A separate report by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York indicated the U.S. households have become more optimistic about the future financial condition. People are waking up. They're starting to figure it out. We've been talking about it for 2 years on here. We were talking about it a long time, and that's why we sold our rental property.
We've been talking about this for way more than 2 years,
Well,
but 2 years on the
YouTube
YouTube channel. But Chris and I have been doing this, living this lifestyle, discussing this for about 10 plus years. And I was actually talking to a subscriber, which, by the way, Mr. Don, if you see this video, it was so nice to meet you. But he had a good point. Every person has a different position. And we've discussed this also, and you've said this so many times. Every person has to figure out for themselves. We tell you what we're doing, but it might not fit your specific situation. But the big takeaway is, and he even said the same thing, he said, don't be in debt. Credit card debts, don't, if all possible. He was talking about even a truck that he drove that was older. Don't be in debt.
Being in debt is being out of debt is all you really need to make it. If you want your big shot and everything comes down and you don't have millions of dollars piled up to buy rental properties, you don't have to. All you have to have is a good credit score. That's it. We bought rental properties, 6 in a year and a half, right?
Yes.
With no money down. They paid us at closing table. We had a great credit score. I was able to lay out in writing exactly what I was going to do. The numbers don't lie. You can lay it all out in front of them. If it's a good enough deal on whatever it is, you can find the money to do it. That's the way it works. So try, if you're out of debt and you're good, that's all you need. There's one more thing, and I want to finish this article so I can set it down, but it goes along with it. As high income groups face inflationary pressures, discount retail chains have reported an increase in the number of customers from this demographic. So discount retail chains are seeing higher end people. This goes along with why we sold almost all of our rental properties, because pretty much I would say that's the 100, 150,000 a year class was running our places.
Yep.
And they're getting hammered. They're getting hammered with inflation. And usually the landlord's the first one to not get paid, or one of the first ones. Go ahead.
No, so a couple comments. So I'd love to read your comments as we go along. And a couple of you guys said, I disagree. My adoptive parents or my personal bank finances, I've never had a problem. The problem is when you don't hold to your word. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. And then someone else said, I've helped family members with 0 interest loans. If you can't help family, why have money? And you're one of the few fortunate that I know that have actually then stuck to their word, because most people personally that I know and people that have talked to us, that's not usually the case. So congrats on you guys for actually.
If you loan to family, expect it do it as a gift. If they pay it back, good. If they don't, it's a gift. I learned that from Charles Stanley. Actually.
Really? That he said that.
That's a good way, because you don't want to mess your family or your friendship up if they fall on hard times. If they, a lot of times people need money because they didn't know how to manage the money that they had before. That's a lot of the reason. I know people that borrowed from family members to buy a business or whatever, and they were supposed to pay it back in a year. This family member mortgaged his house. He put a lien on his house, and instead of paying him in a year on a variable rate interest that is going up all the time, variable rate, boop, 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 boop. Now he's paying maybe $100 a month on the note because he's paying the minimum on the monthly payment. The loan's coming due in a couple years. Family member's out. It's over. Can you imagine how awkward that would be at Christmas when you're having it somewhere else because you can't go to your house because it's gone? I'm just saying, try to avoid those situations. If you're, that's me saying, hey, this might be a good idea. You might get away with it. I haven't borrowed any money from any family, I don't think. Not saying I wouldn't, but it'd have to be in writing with interest, and it'd be just like a loan from the bank.
Well, family can become awkward with several things.
Remember, people get funny when it comes to money. Just try to think about that, and if you like your friend, try not to loan him money.
But where I was thinking about this is every person, and Mr. Don, you kind of brought this home, because he said, I like watching your guys' videos, but some things don't apply to me. So you say this all the time, and I want to reiterate this. Every person is not in the same situation. Some person might live in an apartment, some people might live in a house, or own it, they might rent, and so you kind of have to figure out your situation for yourself, what works for you. And we talk about things sometimes, and he kind of brought that home to me. He said, I really like your videos. He said, but everybody is in a different place. So, I don't know, for some reason that stuck with me. Like, when we talk about money like this, everyone is in a different position when it comes to making this much money. Everyone prepares different things. But I think the big thing is to have a plan, don't be in debt, try to have a budget, no matter where you are and what situation you're in.
That's why you think in percentages. That's the most helpful thing we ever did.
Percentages.
When we started accumulating assets, and it puts you in a different frame of mind and kind of start thinking a little differently, and you can set aside a percentage. How much do you want to be allocated to rental properties? How much do you want to be allocated to precious metals? How much cash do you need in your safe? The only way I can do it, because you never know what's enough. Over here, over there, you'll be swapping it around not knowing. If you'll think in percentages and write it down and come up with a plan, and let's say you're stacking precious metals. A lot of you know, Stacey's a broker for Miles Franklin. We talk about precious metals all the time, but I think that's going to be a wise decision. It has been so far for the people that have gotten into it since we first started. If you'll say, okay, I want 10% in precious metals. If your net worth comes down, your 10% stays the same. So, you know what I'm saying? If precious metals are up and your net worth comes down, you sell. You keep it at 10%. If you go up, you get more. You keep that allocation. That keeps you away from not getting too far into one asset. Yeah, that's what the wealthy do. And when I figured that out, I started thinking like that, and it makes it so much easier. Hey, are we at 10%? Are we, how much of our net worth is in rental properties? If that goes belly up, are we going to be completely done? So that's a good way to think about it. And you're right. Everybody's situation is different. Everybody's situation is so different. And I try to say that all the time. But when you think in percentages and you come up with your own solution to your situation, then you can't really point the finger at anybody but yourself.
Yep, you're right. Well, talking about money, let's go on to the banks a little bit. Do you mind?
No, I'd
for
love
a second?
to. Love
so
to.
The banks, you guys, we all know we had the stress test, and they came out where they said they're okay, maybe, but we've got risk that are rising, and mainly in the commercial industry. And if you guys follow us on Twitter, you'll see where I posted the article where they're saying you can actually see the different companies that they're talking about, the different banks, JP Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, Goldman Sachs. They're saying where they're having some issues possibly with some risk factors. They're also saying they're projecting a 571 billion loss is what they're saying, that it could be. Credit card loans also, they say, are being tricky. And also they give you commercial loans, industry loans. There's some banks, Discovery, Barclays. You got credit cards. They list different banks. Goldman Sachs is one of them, Capital One. So you guys, these are banks to pay attention to. Also, you can also go in further with this. Commercial real estate, they're saying Goldman Sachs. There's a company right now, there's a bank in Germany that's not even reinvesting in the United States commercial industry anymore. And they usually do that because our commercial real estate right now is not so great. But the funny thing is, which makes no sense, we have all these loans coming due, all these arms coming due, variable rate interest. They're saying that it's an issue. There's on the books, they're saying that this is an issue. However, every time I drive to town, which I'm headed there this afternoon again, I see new commercial property popping up. It just doesn't add up. And I even look to see what bank is actually funding it, because usually most of the times there'll be a sign in the front of the property that's being built, what bank is, doing the loan. Anyway.
Well, what they're measuring is the common equity tier, the CET ratio. Bank stress test. Well, I highlight a little bit to try to make it make sense. The ratio, which measures high quality capital, will dip to a minimum of 9.9%, well above the required minimum of 4.5%. However, the Fed also projected the potential loss on loans under its several adverse scenario, with estimates reaching up to $571 billion. The central bank specifically highlighted credit card loans as potentially troublesome. If you go down to the credit card page, people like Ally Financial, 40.6%. Goldman Sachs, 25.4%. There's a massive, what is it? The credit card debt in this country is 1.1 trillion now.
It's insane. It's the highest it's ever been.
It's the year of all-time highs, and now they're saying, we're doing a stress test, and we have these minimum CET ratios are 40.6%. It's wild, man. And when you're saying this, we keep going into town and we keep seeing them build new buildings, right?
Yeah, it doesn't add up.
That reminds me of what Mark Twain said. It's not what you don't know, it's what you do know that just ain't so.
Yeah.
That's it's like the precious metals thing. People have been stacking forever, and it doesn't make sense. The dollar's going down, inflation's going up, precious metals staying flat. Well, that's what you have to come to terms with. That's why it's important to have a percentage.
Well, it's interesting going on to precious metals, and I'll segue into another little thing probably. But if you look at WikiLeaks, one of the things that they actually leaked was some documents where it showed, and I put it on Twitter, if you guys go on Twitter, and I don't have it pulled up right now, but where it shows that the federal government actually suppressed gold, and they state why. There's documents showing it, that they did not want the gold prices to go up. And there you go. I mean, it's all manipulated on that kind of stuff.
If you were a country that wanted all the precious metals and you knew you could stop buying precious metals for a brief moment and the price would go down, is that what you would do? Just curious. It makes perfect sense to me. China's been buying, what other countries?
India,
China,
Russia.
Most all other countries, mainly the ones that I would say are our adversaries, have been piling up gold to a record amount. Remember, we were breaking records all the time. Broke another record. China's bought more gold and we don't even know how much they've actually got. I mean, they don't. They're known to only tell you what they want to know, what they want you to know. So be careful. That's what's going on, I think, in the precious metals market. This dip we're having. Oh, China stopped buying. Boo! That's what I'd do if I know I could stop buying to buy it cheaper. Wouldn't you?
Absolutely, I would. Yeah. All right, well, let's keep going on. So, you guys, if you guys noticed the highlights from this past week, I want to hit on a few things. Julian obviously got freedom, and I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't know how much YouTube will allow us. But you guys, he was never charged. He spent 12 years in jail, prison, hiding out, whatever you want to call it, and he was never charged, not one time. And I did not realize. I thought he actually had charges against him because we were trying to extradite him to the United States. Until the other day, he was finally charged. And they also claimed that he hacked. I found out the other day that apparently he did not. Someone gave him those documents from the government, which is a woman, which is apparently a transgender woman, who actually apparently just tried to commit suicide the other day, or that's what the news is saying. But I guess I feel like that our freedom of speech, when I was watching the debate, and you guys tell me what you guys think, but I was watching the other debate, it seemed like Trump was just, he was like, why am I even here? You know, he's censored, he's gagged, and I feel like that's where we are right now. I'm getting completely off subject from the financial stuff, but I was reading all this stuff. So they say there was a hacking group that boasted about breaching the Federal Reserve. And that's kind of also been out there right now. But apparently that's not sure if it did or not. But I feel like our freedom of speech is just
100%.
he had to agree to espionage an account, one count or whatever, to get his freedom. But however, he was never charged and he was held. You look at what happened with the debate the other night. And this is in history also, you guys. This is the first time there's ever been a presidential debate between both parties. And usually it's after the nominee.
And
I was showing Chris some clips. Go ahead.
And there's some rumors that it was planned. You know, it's a circus. So they set Joe Biden up knowing he was a mumbling moron, an evil
well, what did I say?
moron.
Let's get ready to mumble.
Let's get ready to mumble. And so they can say, okay, well, Biden's all of a sudden incompetent. I guess we're going to have Kamala Harris or whatever. I don't know anybody that would vote for Biden. I do know a few people that would vote against Trump. That's the main reason you would vote for somebody that can't form a sentence to run this great country. That's the only thing I can come up with. There's a lot of people that think Joe Biden, the people that vote for him, oh, he's just a nice little old man. That is not the truth. Jill is not cruel to Joe Biden. I think they kind of hate each other. She knows he's a perverted old weirdo, like most of them are. But they are the puppets, and the puppeteers are telling them what to do. And if you don't do that, then you don't get to do this, this, and this. It talks a lot about it in this book, right here. I might read a little bit of that in a second. But I can do it now if you'd like.
No, that was just the takeaway from this week. I don't know if you guys follow the news. Most of you guys do. But I guess the takeaway was what is going on with our country. I mean, we give so much money to other countries. We are so concerned about other countries. We get in other countries' business. But what's going on with our country? We're literally losing our country, it feels like. And I was listening to a Tucker Carlson speech he did in Australia just about 2 nights ago. And what is happening with our country? We're losing our rights, our freedom of speech. You just turn on the news and you're like, is this seriously the United States of America? And you watch the presidential debate and you're like, at this point, it's elderly abuse that poor guy, I'm not saying poor guy, but Biden's up there so doped up. I don't know, my head has just been spinning this week.
He's a career politician.
He's a career politician, and now he's so.
For him.
No, I don't
Zero.
feel. No, but take him home at this point.
Take him out. He needs to be put to pasture. He needs to be gone and never come back. There's a lot of them need to do that. But you know what I find really interesting? How Satan allows these people to live so long. They look dead. Look at Nancy Pelosi.
Yep. Schumer.
Chuck Schumer. Who's the guy that funds all of it? George Soros.
Yeah, oh, wow, yes.
They're bad grass. They won't die. Give me a break.
He used to say that about a dog that he had.
It's nuts. So definitely demonic spirits and keeping them alive. I just don't see another way around it. The stuff they've done to this country and the planet mainly is repulsive, and they just keep hanging on. And now we've got Soros. It's not going to get any better after they die because Soros' son said he's going to be even worse than his dad,
Yeah.
or better in his words. He thinks he's going to do much more harm. It's crazy how I hope we can turn this around. I pray for it. That's the only thing we can do because it looks nutty. It really does. This book, The New World Order, I mentioned it in the video. If you hadn't read it, maybe think about it. And a lot of people think it's conspiracy, and this is, what was his name? I interviewed him the other day. Faber. Rafi.
Rafi.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Rafi Faber.
Rafi.
He kind of gave me a hard time. I don't want to scare people. I was like, man, that's not it. I mean, the truth is scary. What's happening in this country is terrifying. But if you'll go just to the front of the book and read the writing, or go to your dollar bill. That's on the dollar bill. Annuit conceptus novus ordo sacrorum. I don't know how to speak Latin. But that's what it is. It's Latin for announcing the birth of the New World Order. It's on the monopoly money that we use every day. This is not anything new. This is something that has been in the pipe for a long, long time. And it goes way back. It has quotes from Bush. It has quotes from Nelson Rockefeller. He was running for president, the New York governor. He would work towards international creation of the New World Order. This is really popular back in the 70s and 80s. There's 2 centuries ago, our forefathers brought forth a new nation. Now we must join with others to bring forth a new world order. This new world order we're thinking about. And I think leaving the border open, making these evil decisions, they're not poor. They know what they're doing. 100% evil. Is part of it. George Bush. I really thought George Bush, and I was really young then, senior, was supposed to be a good president. Man, that's when I found out that I don't trust them. None of them. One of them came to speak at the church.
Yeah.
And I just can't do it. I just can't get in line with it. George Bush gave a commencement address in Texas. Similar words. Soviet-American relations, and he was quoted as saying, ultimately, our objective is to welcome the Soviet Union back into the world order. Perhaps the world order of the future will truly be a family of nations. United Nations, New World Order. It's all in the Bible. It's all there. Also, the million-man army coming from the east. That's there too. So, brace for impact and get ready. That was kind of scary. I didn't mean to be scary.
Well, this week just really brought it home, I think. If you watch everything that happened, I mean, you've got Steve Bannon getting ready to head to prison July the 1st. He's tried to go against it. You got Peter Navarro that's serving time. They've come out the Supreme Court. They've tried to reverse some of the July the 6th stuff, which I'm not going to go down that path. That's not my place to speak on that. But I guess my takeaway from this past week, I told Chris, I said, what is happening to our country? What is happening to our free speech? That is what I just seem to take away from that. However, I will give one good note when we're talking about free speech. Well, your voice does matter. Sometimes you think your voice doesn't matter. Your pocketbook, where you spend your money doesn't matter, but it actually does. Tractor Supply has reversed their course, backing off of woke initiative following a conservative backlash. Because think about this, Tractor Supply, who really shops at Tractor Supply? Your farmers, the people that garden, those are, typically speaking, they're conservative people. And when they came out with this different woke initiative, people said, fine, all right, Tractor Supply, we're done with you. And there was actually something that came out that said, don't shop at Tractor Supply. And I haven't lately. I've not shopped. So they have actually backed off of that, and they said they're known for selling farming equipment. They're reversing their course on woke initiatives. They're potentially having to deal with some fallout over major corporations. So every day they said our 50,000 team members take care of our customers like family. We deeply value our relationships with our customers and the communities we call home. They've invested millions of dollars in conservative causes including veteran causes, emergency response, animal shelter, state fairs, rodeos, and farmers market. So they have completely backed up from. So you guys, we do have a voice. You do. Sometimes you think you don't when you watch the media and you watch what's going on in our country. You're like, can I even make a difference? But you can. You can. You can speak up, and you can shop where things count. And that's what we try to do also. You ready to do this quote?
Well, it goes completely with what's going on here. The majority of people will not readily accept the New World Order, but it will deceive them into accepting it by two strategies. Those in favor of changes will become seated in the very thrones of power, generally without the public realizing it, which is what we're seeing. It's in the one I was trying to go with. But either way, the old world order will be destroyed piece by piece by a series of planned nibbles and established format. And they go on and they talk about how the monogamous marriage will fade out. Gay marriage will be in. Christianity will be eliminated. It's the same thing, and these woke companies, they're just doing whatever to sell. Any
They
people
are.
that
It's all about the money.
will sell their soul to sell something. They'll do whatever it takes to sell a product. Well, it doesn't matter. If they get some kind of carbon credit or something from the government for being woke, that's what they're going to do. And I do have a problem with that. People that'll do anything for money, and that's a lot of people.
You can go down that rabbit hole in a
Yeah.
quick heartbeat. It is though, you guys. You're exactly right. We say this all the time. Follow the
find
money.
that quote.
Follow the money every single time. If you follow the money, you can usually figure out what's going on when it comes to politics, when it comes to any of that kind of stuff, when it comes to business decisions. If you watch people, follow the money. You got another quote for us?
I do. Keep going. I'm going to find it. I couldn't
All right.
find it while ago.
So real quick then, while he's doing it, I'll give you kind of an update because you guys know I try to at least tell you what's going on with precious metals. We did take a dip, and my silver right now is $29.29 spot. Gold is $2,331, and platinum is $1,003.10. We do apparently they're working on some specials that were going to come out for the 4th of July week, which is this upcoming week. So I typically send out an email usually about Tuesday. I get usually the new price list late Monday night. I send it out Tuesday. If you're interested in just getting a premium price list, I send the email out personally. As I've said before, I do not sell your email. You will not be spammed. You can text me 318-564-5823. We'll put the number in the description, and I will be happy to send it to you. Usually we have it back here in the back, but we've moved the number to your geo. But do you guys, go ahead and have the quote.
Jim, would you mind throwing that up in the comments, Stacey's number? Okay, so in Matthew, Jesus called it the beginning of sorrows. But recent Jimmy Carter, his security advisor, Brzezinski, this is what he had to say. The New World Order will include changes in the family. Homosexual marriage will be legalized. This is a quote. Homosexual marriages will be legalized. Parents will not be allowed to raise their children. The state will. All women will be employed by the state and not allowed to be homemakers. Divorce will become exceedingly easy, and monogamous marriage will be slowly phased out. The workplace. The government will become the owner of all the factors of production. The private ownership of property will be outlawed. Religion will be outlawed, and believers will be either eliminated or imprisoned. There will be a new religion, the worship of man and his mind. All will believe in the new religion. Deceive. Kind of went with it. I didn't mean to say that. That was Jimmy Carter. Well, that's his advisor. But what was he advising him to do? It's a big club, we ain't in it.
Yeah.
It's all part of the plan. It's funny how the Bible says it and they do too. It's like, hey, this is what we're planning. It's what we're doing. Hey guys, if you could hit the like button, that would really help this video out.
Well, somebody
forget
just
to say it all the
commented.
time.
They said, please keep doing this Saturday morning. So thank you. We kind of brought this back. We didn't really know if you guys would enjoy this or not. This is just kind of Chris and I having a conversation. Like you were sitting here having coffee with us. This is kind of what we discuss. And as you can tell, we're kind of bothered this Saturday morning by the events that's happened this week. There's just been a lot happening, a lot going on, and you have to look at it and go, we're fighting for, I think, our free speech and our freedom right now.
Well, Steve Bannon's going to prison.
And
They're trying to lock Trump up. This is exactly what you would think from Nazism, from the authorities trying to lock up their opposing party.
Yep.
That's what Hitler did.
Yep.
He also took away 22 shells first. Remember that. That's the first thing. So I cannot think of an asset that's going to double in value quicker than 22. Pile them up. When they're going extinct, you'll have tens of thousands of them. You'll be like, hey, now might be a good time to swap for something else. Does that make sense? Am I just too simple? Is that just a simple way to look at things? It's like, wow, that happens every so often. It seems like it could possibly happen again.
I think it's another way to diversify. And I think
it is, 100%. Take a certain percentage?
Yep.
Freedom
So
seeds.
you guys ask what we do a lot of times, and we diversify. And depending on what your situation is, you might could take a little bit and diversify in that area. And it's just one more way. And not everybody has property like we have. A lot of you guys that I talked to, and I know you want an article you want to read real quick, but read it. Go ahead.
It was about Steve Bannon. You were talking about freedom of speech, and guys, it is so. I've made several videos. The video, you think I've gone a long time and hadn't made a video. I have made some spectacular videos.
And I won't let him put him up.
Stacey won't let me put them on because if I do, we'll be gone forever.
Yep.
I learned that during the woohoo bat flu, when you couldn't talk about it, they took our professional Facebook page down. Facebook had everything to do with the way it was spread, with the way it rolled out. And as soon as they saw the information I put up there, they took down our professional real estate page. We couldn't even get on it to manage it. Not only that, they took this channel down in 8 minutes. 8 minutes. You know me, I would never do anything to be, no cursing, I try to keep it super clean, so it wasn't anything like that. They didn't agree with what the 30-year virologist had to say, which was absolutely perfect. That fit it perfect. There's a lady that has a detox for a certain something or another, if you took it. They took her completely down.
Yep.
She was sobbing. She was saying, I have 600 emails and I can't even tell people what to do. They have debilitating problems and I can't even help them. Yeah, freedom of speech is this close to being history. And that's the first one. That's the main one.
Well, on that note, follow us on Twitter, you guys. We'll put it in the description, the link. I also, when I send out the emails, I try to put the link. Follow us on Twitter because you guys, we post daily. And a lot of that stuff we post, we can't say here. So get on there and follow us. And we do Rumble. We don't do live on Rumble, which maybe one of these days we will, where we can say a little bit more.
I want to do Truth Social. I want to get on Trump's platform.
I'm on Truth Social now, but you're not.
Can we get the plan? Can we get the channel on there? Can we get a channel on Truth? How hard is that?
I don't know, but I'm on there as like just an individual because I've been following a lot of stuff.
I want to be on there.
Okay, we'll work on that.
That's the thing with me. I don't watch sports because I want to be playing it. You know, I want to be watching. I want to be doing it. So let's try to get on Truth Social or some kind of platform. This is not being able to talk truth is not cool. I mean, I can talk around stuff, but the video I did yesterday was limited monetization. They crushed the algorithms.
Oh, yeah.
It was 10 out of 10, and
So-
it was just normal stuff about crime. It was about how bad crime has gotten. 300%. Crime is up 300% in New York City. It is 100% due to illegal immigration, says the New York City police. They don't want to hear about that.
Yeah.
That is part of it. This platform, Facebook, that is a big part of the New World Order, maybe. Maybe it's all the big plan from the people that are in charge, the big club and we ain't in it types of thing. You know, I don't know another thing it could be. If you know what else it is, if it isn't something that they've been slowly nibbling away at, the foot in the door method, let me know. If I'm absolutely wrong and crazy for being a prepper, which it's just kind of normal life, right? Just have what you need in case you can't get it, in case the lights go out, have some water, have a plan, a bag, all that stuff. Is that crazy?
No, we're on a rant today, though. This week is obviously, I think troubled both you and I both.
Well, we're talking about serious things. We're talking about freedom of speech.
Yes, it is.
I mean, this is
It's
something to
huge.
get riled up
No,
about.
it is. I mean, you look at people, they're being
People
in prison.
died for it.
In UK right now, they just went and arrested people because they were going to do a protest. I saw the videos. They actually did the videos and they went and arrested them. They don't have freedom of speech. Will that hit here? Will we all of a sudden have a knock at the door because we're doing a video right now? I think it really hit home.
100% that'll happen.
And so that was when I saw that, and I watched a video with Steve Bannon, and he said, "Hey, I'm willing." He said, "I've put everything in place, and I'm willing." He said, "I will." He used to be in the military. He served in our country for 4 years, and now because he claimed immunity because he was in a public office, which you're allowed to do because other officials have done it. Now he is going to prison. Peter Navarro is in prison. Were they right or wrong? I don't know all the specific details, but I do know this. Our freedom of speech is at stake. And that has really troubled me this week. And when I was watching the debate, which I did, I watched the entire thing. There's clips that are funny. The funniest part I thought was the golf portion when he said he had a handicap of 6, and then Trump started laughing. But our freedom of speech, I think, is truly, we're there.
The immigration thing, I've been making a lot of noise about. That is the new entitlement class. They'll know how to work the system. That is exactly what's coming through the border that the government wants you to feel sorry for. And, oh, they're just poor little families that want a better life. What's actually coming through the border is Russian nationals, Chinese nationals. Who knows? There is no telling the demonic people that have just strolled across the border that Biden, 100% the Biden administration left wide open. So you got the new, younger entitlement class that's going to milk this country dry, that is going to bring us down another notch. The middle class, down, crush it down. So you have the uber elite, just like China. Uber elite, poverty. In between, big gap. It was this big. Electricians, carpenters, uber elite, lawyers, doctors. Now we have, they kind of went down, and the government, the CCP type people are way up here. Nancy Pelosi, why don't they investigate her? How about that? How about buying shares on NVIDIA when it was $30? Not buying shares, buying options. Nobody. She's worth $200 million?
Yep.
I think that's right. I can't remember.
Well, AOC, even her income has gone way up since she's been in there because she's been doing, it's insider trading, but they don't, but they have
It's so broken.
It is.
It is so broken.
It is.
But I'm just griping about it. What can we do? That's the question. What can we do?
All right. So we talked about the doom and gloom. What can we do?
What can we do?
That's what we're doing here. That's why we're on this YouTube video, taking a risk at speaking out to hopefully wake people up. But what can you do in actions? I think you can speak with your money. Vote. I know they think votes are important, but even the lower, so a lot of people don't go, they vote in the presidential election, but they don't vote in what your local representatives are. We just joined a club, one of our local town clubs. What are they called? The Rotary or whatever. We're going to try to get a little bit more involved in our local.
Is it Rotary?
Yeah, it's the Rotary.
Okay. I'm in a big club and I don't know.
And I signed him up. We're going to try to get involved just a little bit more in our local, and I think that's kind of where it starts. Presidential elections, a lot of people go and vote there. However, if you don't start with the person that you send to Congress and know who they are, then I think we need some really good people that will stand up. And it's not easy to put yourself out there to be nominated for something like that. I wouldn't want to do it because everybody digs in your business, and it's tough enough just to even have a YouTube channel. But I think it's time. I think we're at that point. We're going to be that person in the gulag that they say we're dragging him to the prison. Why didn't I speak? Why didn't I speak? And I just feel like in my gut we're there. We're at that moment.
He
led them
to
where
the gulag was.
Yeah.
And he took them there.
Yep. They didn't know where to go.
And after they got him, it was over. It
Yep.
was miserable. If you hadn't read Gulag Archipelago, good luck. It's a tough read. I listened to it.
I read it.
Stacey read it, and it was, man, how this ends up, and it's going to be different now. But it's the same evil spirit that possessed Mao and all the other people. I don't want to go through all of them. But Karl Marx, Stalin, those people, they killed millions. And it mainly starts with the food supply. We've got to do another video on food supply because that's what they're hammering on now. They're hammering these farmers.
They are.
They're talking about how bad climate change is. It's all in the name of climate change. You better not be a climate denier. That is no longer the science. The science says humans are changing the atmosphere, and we have got to starve the humans and make them eat bugs, stuff that doesn't make as much carbon.
Well, you've got the bird flu also.
You know what?
They're killing the chickens.
You know what Mao did? The brain dead or possessed Mao thought it was a good idea to bury corn, a pile of it, like 3 foot in the ground. And it was going to grow huge corn. It was going to be amazing. And the propaganda was so good back then. It was the same as now. It showed little kids walking on top of the corn because it was so thick. Like look how good the crops. It's somewhere between 50 and 60 million people died from starving because the government thought it was a good idea to kill the farmers, run them off the property, and for whatever reason, climate change wasn't a thing back then, global warming or whatever it may be.
I would like to know what you guys are doing. What are you guys doing to make a difference? Give us some ideas of how are you doing to speak up? I know we're doing the YouTube video. We're going to try to start reaching out in our community a little bit more. We try to vote in our local elections. We try to find out who the people are, what they stand for. What are you guys doing, and what ideas do you guys have? Like, how can we make a difference in the world that we're in now? Because I think we're there. It's nice just to sit here and say something, but what are some actions that we can take? And that's what we're trying to do.
You know what I've done lately that I said I was going to do and I did? I started getting out in the community, my neighboring,
You did. You have.
Yeah. And how I did it was I'd find something on Facebook Marketplace that I needed, like some barrels. Mm-hmm. I went and bought a bunch of plastic barrels for storage or whatever. They had soap in them too. All they've ever had in them is soap. I was thinking, wow, that's amazing. They're $10 a piece, like brand new. While I was there, I got to talk to the guy. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you something. Facebook is so eat up with people that have something they really want to sell and get rid of, but the people that are coming to get it or make phone calls don't show up. They don't have money. I have no idea why people would tell you, okay, I'll be there at such and such time, and then never call. Or that takes a special person. So when you do show up to look at the item, be on time, and they are going to be so happy that you're not some kind of weirdo that doesn't show up, that you're a normal person, and there's a good chance. I've made some friends lately. You have. Several.
He's been really reaching out. That's our goal lately, is to reach out into our community.
And that's a way to do it. That's a way to do it. And I found out a guy down the road had a sawmill, so I got a bunch of logs stuff. Went and talked to him, and he turned me on to somebody else. And I'm putting these people in my phone, and they're putting my contact information in their phone. And you can build the community up around you. We had a party the other day, a hamburger party, or what was it?
We called it Burger and a Band. We
pool
actually,
party.
yeah.
It was the
Burger and a Band.
Pond pool party or something like that. And we had a band, and we had the community come here, the local neighbors, and to try to get to meet them and see who they are, and try to develop that friendship, that trusting relation with community members. That is going to be a huge one. It's the only way we're going to get through it. I'm telling you. It's the only way we get through what's coming is with the community. Lone wolf stuff's not going to work. We're going to need to be contacting back and forth. I'm about to do, hopefully, a video on a phone that can't be traced, that can't be hacked. MNJ in the comments has been on me, riding me about doing it. She's got one. I don't know anything about it. I've got so many things going, it's hard for me to do something else. But I'm going to find the best person to talk about how to have a phone that gets you off the grid, if that's even
Possible.
possible. It's hard for me to believe that, but if it is, I'm going to find out about it.
Well, that was fun doing
That was
coffee with
fun.
you this
Guys,
morning.
thank you for being here. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And reach out. Make your community bigger. Share this video. That'd be cool. And
Our freedom of speech, you guys, it's at stake. Don't stop speaking out.
And above all right now, I want you to have an awesome, awesome day. Later. How do I turn it off?